Good afternoon, Craig Middle School families. Sarah Linscomb here, CMS Athletic Director and Assistant Principal. Apologize that this hasn't came out sooner, but I wanted to make sure I had the most up-to-date information and things really aligned so you guys have a pretty clear picture of what athletics looks like moving into January, February, and then hopefully even better in the spring. So I'm going to go ahead and share a little presentation with you. I will definitely share this on the school website and Facebook page. That is a great way to find out any detailed information, but you can also reach out to me via my email, sarah.linscomb@moffattsd.org, or my direct line to my office is 826-6358. And I'd love to help answer any questions I'm able to at this time. I also just want to say I'm really thankful for the kids and families right now during this situation. I've had a ton of support. I feel like the kids are supporting each other. And while these are ideal circumstances, people are making the best of it. So I do appreciate that during these times. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and you guys should be able to see my screen here. So this is just going to be an update for athletics and activities here in January. So things have evolved quite a bit in our league. So in our league, we are made up of area schools like Meeker, Rangeley, Sirocco, Hayden, West Grand, East Grand, North Park, and Steamboat. So within that league, you can imagine we're dealing with multi-counties, and each county is kind of in a different place and has been throughout this pandemic. We're also dealing with very different size schools. So North Park probably is the very obvious school that is small, and their kids are going to school every day during the week. Their numbers historically have been under 15 kids, so it's pretty easy for them to utilize gym space. They don't run into some of the issues that Steamboat and myself face when it comes to having, I'm looking at numbers right now, 60 kids, 70 kids out per sport between 7th and 8th graders, and then like in wrestling, those kind of numbers for 6th, 7th, and 8th. So as we're weighing decisions, the biggest two departments we're working with right now is the Colorado Department of Public Health, and then obviously our local Moffat County Public Health. And when we look at this, it basically came down to a lot of questions around, were middle school athletics going to be able to follow CHASA guidelines, or was it, or are we going to have to really do something different? And so it's been very clear, not just from Colorado Public Health and locally by Moffat County Public Health, but also you can see on here this FAQ that you're more than welcome to look at directly from CHASA that says that the variance approved by the state is specifically for high school, for the High School Athletic Association. So it's not for middle school sports, it's not for recreational sports, so we cannot follow the same guidelines. So what we will be following, along with what they're saying, adult, youth, and recreation sports will be followed, is the organized sports guidance. And so I have linked that here and can show you what that also looks like. But I think some of the biggest things that we ended up having to come up with is a lot of the stipulations are based off of your county. So depending on what Rio Blanco County might be able to do, it might be very different than what Routt County can do. And so we just have to work during those times within our color and serve our kids the best we can within those conditions. We also definitely have some bigger factors this year, including gym space, keeping kids cohorting, social distance, equipment, keeping staff safe. So just a lot of layers that go into some of this decision making. So our current seasons that we have set up were all supposed to start here in January. So we had 5-week seasons. And so it was boys basketball followed by girls basketball and wrestling going on at the same time. Then after spring break, starting volleyball, football, and then followed by track. So 5-week seasons are already super short. And so in our league, we could not physically keep shortening our seasons by 3 weeks, but down to 2 weeks. So we did as a league just agree that instead of cutting it, whatever color we're at, whatever our local public health says we can do, then we're just going to follow it from there. So boys basketball, obviously we're already 1 week deep into it, so it's affecting that season. So we aren't going to try and reschedule things moving forward. The only difference in our league is that at our most recent meeting, some of our schools were able to play football in the fall, but the majority of those schools were 8-man football. And so we saved 11-man football for the spring. And so some of those 8-man schools are considering moving their wrestling season to the football season. But specifically, I can speak to Steamboat and myself, very similar population school dynamics right now in a hybrid model. We are really sticking to this together. So what the organized sports guidelines say is, so it's by color, and then over here, you can see that they talk about low frequency contact sports, medium frequency contact sports, and then high frequency. And you can kind of see what those look like. And so currently in our county, we are at the orange level. And so at the orange level for organized sports, sports are allowed outdoors only. So we aren't even allowed to have any type of activities going on within our facilities right now when we're in the orange. If we're in the orange come track season, we have some room to work with because we're outdoor. So we can do groups that are limited to 10 or few people and should maintain 6 feet apart. So as long as we have, a group of 10 kids that are in cohorts, like at the high jump pit and then at, doing sprints on one side, we just have more room to work with there. So specifically, so no indoor sports at the orange, red, or purple level on there. So Steamboat and myself, and I believe some of the other schools are kind of using this guidance that we formed based off of the organized sports stipulations, but it kind of just breaks it apart into some of our thinking. So you can see this is the organized sports up here is exactly what the state is telling us we have to follow. So once we do get into the yellow, hopefully, we would look at scrimmaging at a school cohort level. And so what that could look like indoors is like when A-Day kids come, we might do, say, girls basketball, for example. We could use the smaller auxiliary gym maybe for 7th grade, and then 8th grade could have the bigger gym. And then what we'd be looking like in there is just fitness development and skills. So students would still have to do 6 foot apart. We'd have to limit 25 athletes per gym space. So we'd be doing some signups to make sure kids are getting a little bit of activity. It may only be 2 days a week. We will just definitely have to go and navigate that when we get into the yellow level, but we have some pretty good ideas as far as just doing some skills drills and skill development during that time if we're doing indoor sports. If we get into the spring and we're still in this yellow area, we won't be looking at playing teams from other schools, but maybe possibly being able to scrimmage even some within each other, just depending on how we're doing and what the conditions look like. Where we're really looking at playing other teams is when we're in that blue and green level. For outdoor sports, same kind of applies here, except when we are in this orange level, we can do some cohorts. A 10 yellow level, we're getting a lot more scrimmaging, contact less than 15 minutes per group. And that helps us not having to quarantine kids as much if we know who those cohorts are traveling with, and we keep it under 15 minutes. But again, we're definitely looking at that fitness and skill development at the yellow. And then hopefully when we get to the blue and green, that we're back to playing in those conditions. And so on the website and then linked on here also is the schedules that we have created. So when we do reach that blue and green level, if we're able to play other teams, we'll just have to work with them. So for example, if Steamboat is still in the orange, we won't be able to add them to the schedule. We'll be looking to play other teams that are at that blue and green level. When we get there too, we'll be having to look at like roster play and how many kids can travel and transportation. So there's just a lot of layers that I'm ready to tackle, definitely when we get there. And we already have a lot of ideas on paper, and I appreciate all the coaches' help with some of those ideas and figuring out what we can do to get these kids active in programs as soon as possible. I am going to go back. So if you want to read more into what the organized sports guidelines look like, again, it's COVID-19 Colorado Gov organized sports. And on there, it talks about everything from rationale, who this affects, guidance for all phases, facilities, spectators, a lot of the safety and health protocols that we will have to put into place. And again, that chart that I shared before. I know it's not the greatest news, me sharing that we won't be able to currently do anything for sports right now in this orange level. But again, I really hope that if our focus can be on following the regulations, that we can, hopefully our county can move into a yellow very soon, and we can get these kids active. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions, concerns, and ideas, and hopefully I'll be able to help and navigate and advocate for us the best that I can. I appreciate your time.